Coach, go ahead.
All right. Well, just on behalf of our entire team, I want to make sure I thank everyone associated with the All-State Sugar Bowl. It's been a fantastic week. The New Orleans Saints have gone out of the way for us, had a great experience there for our guys, had a great experience here in town, and we're very grateful to be here and happy to be here. At the same time, we're very excited, most importantly, about the chance to play a great Georgia team. Look forward to representing our team with the way that we play to the best of our abilities. Everyone for us will play. We're excited to play, and it should be a great game.
Questions for Coach Rhule? Looks like on the left towards the back, Coach.
John Warner, Waco Tribune Herald. Thought I'd get this one out of the way early. Have you been contacted by any NFL teams, and do you think it's been a distraction at all this week?
I've not been contacted by anybody, but I mean, it's certainly a distraction in that our guys are answering that instead of talking about the game, which I hate. But you know, I was talking to James Lynch yesterday. Like he said, it's part of my job. When our players play well and when they do things like they've done, going from 1-11 to the Sugar Bowl, people are going to take notice of not just me but my staff. I've had guys on my staff offered, you know, Division I jobs this year. I've had head coaching jobs. And we're pretty committed to being at Baylor. It's a wonderful place. And so I hate that it's even a storyline for our players, but they've handled it really well, and they're used to it. It's been every year it's been that way.
We'll stay on the left towards the center of the room.
Yeah, Murray Poole, Bulldog Illustrated. Coach, describe James Lynch, what makes him a special football player. I know he's Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year, All-American, first team, and just what kind of guy is this? Relentless, apparently, on the field.
Yes, sir. I think one of the things about James is he's tremendously athletic for a big man. You know, he's 300 pounds, but he runs a shuttle like a secondary player. And so it's really his quickness that it's allowed him to have the production that he's had. And he's a relentless player, really smart player. But I want to make sure I say this. He's a really, really good athlete, too. And, you know, most of his sacks come out of a three-man front, you know, where he gets double-teamed. He has a tremendous ability to change his body angles, and he just finds a way to get to the quarterback. And so he makes a ton of plays for us getting the quarterback. He also makes a ton of plays for us in the run game, and that's certainly, when you play a team like Georgia, that's number one, is finding a way to stop the run, especially the outside running game, and it'll be really key that he does that.
We'll move over on the right side towards the front.
Alex Scarborough with ESPN. I know you hate this storyline, but given all you've accomplished here and being one play away from the playoff, how do you sort of weigh what's left to accomplish versus other opportunities that may exist in the NFL?
Oh, we're talking about for me?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. To me, it's every day is an accomplishment for me, right? So my goal in life is, at the end of the day, is really to do a good job wherever I'm coaching, but more importantly, to make sure I take care of my family. And so I don't think the one thing people don't realize as coaches, like, we pick up our families, man. We rip them out of their homes. We rip them out of the places that they are. And so sometimes you do that till you get to a point where you find happy, but sometimes you shouldn't mess with happy. And so there's a lot to accomplish at Baylor. And most importantly, it's just each and every year I want to put together a championship caliber team, you know, and I think we have a chance to be even better next year than we are this year. And so I'm always looking 3, 4, 5 years down the line. I think we have a chance to be a perennial national contender, to be in the top 10 and be in the top 5 and go to the College Football Playoff and play in New Year's 6 bowls. And so it's just finding a way to get those things done, but at the same time also doing what's right for my family. That's not, people hear that and they always think money. It's more like, where's the right place for them to be? And Waco and Baylor have been amazing to my family.
Still on the left side, midway back.
Sam Blum with the Dallas Morning News. You're talking about I guess Baylor for the future. Do you think that you'll be back at Baylor next year?
Yeah, I plan on that. I certainly think I will be.
I believe, we got on the front row on the left.
Coach, 2 questions for you. One is, what is Jake Fromm's best attribute, and will this be the best defense you have faced this season?
Well, I think in terms of Jake, you can see a player who's extremely intelligent, gets him in the right play. We face a lot of offenses where they look to the sideline, and then they kind of go back. He's a pro-style quarterback. And when I say pro-style, he's getting him in the right protection, getting him in the right play. And that makes it really difficult on defense because you have to disguise, you have to try to throw them different looks. and he's got a big, powerful arm. You know, I mean, he's pushed the ball down the field and made big plays. He's also athletic within the pocket, gets outside the pocket, keeps his eyes down the field. So he's a threat in a lot of ways. He's certainly one of the best quarterbacks we faced this year. Defensively, this is by far the best defense we faced, and that's no disrespect to people in our conference. There's a lot of great defenses in our conference, and there's a lot of difficult defenses in our conference. I, just as a fan of college football, I've enjoyed this week just seeing the different styles of team, you know, like just watching, not this week, but this preparation, watching all the different teams in the SEC. And last year we played Vanderbilt. You know, you hear a lot about SEC versus this conference versus that conference, but it's like night and day the styles of football that we see. Really, the only Big 12 type team in the SEC that I watched, of the teams that I watched, was really LSU, and what they're doing is kind of setting everyone, you know, they're doing it better. But so it'll be interesting just to see the different styles. You know, like we're two teams that held each other under 20 points a game, and we do it with 3 down, they do it 4 down. But you know, I think Coach Smart's brilliant in what they're doing. I mean, they play so many different guys on defense. They have different packages. They rotate in and out. I told our guys, our coaches were in their game planning and taking notes. I said, guys, you have no idea what they're going to do till the first snap of the game, because they do something different every game. And so, but yeah, it's certainly one of the best defenses, and they've got great players. They play hard. They play a lot of guys. It should be a really fun game. And I think it's really cool to see the different styles, and we'll see what happens.
Any further questions for Coach? Yeah, left side, center of the room, Coach.
Anthony Dash, ReviewJSports.com. Of course, I'm from the Georgia perspective. So much has been made on the players who are not here for the Bulldogs this week. But I was wondering, when you look at film and look at some of the younger kids that they're putting out on the field, how much difference are you seeing from what they normally have out there?
And with all due respect to Georgia's issue is not having good players. They got good players up and down the board. I mean, they're fantastic, and I say that with the greatest of respect. Like, I haven't seen a team play as many guys, and I think it's, again, just as a football fan, you can't really kind of do some of the things that they do. We would be afraid to do some of the things, playing so many different guys on different down distances, because of the tempo that we see. You know, teams will go fast against us in our league. But they get guys in and out, so they have so many good players. And I think when you come to a bowl game, you understand on both sides. The other team might have had guys be ineligible, might have guys fail drug tests, might have guys not play. You can't worry about who the other team has. You just got to worry about yourself. So we're just going to try to identify them by number. And one of the great things that they do is, like Mark Webb, you know, he could be the Sam linebacker on one play. He's the Mike in their next package. So you can't come out there. It's just looking at bodies, because they move around so much.
Still in the left side towards the back.
Mike Griffith, AJC Dog Nation. Coach Kirby was talking about the innovative nature of your defensive scheme. How much of that is based on personnel, and can you share some of the philosophy behind what you're doing defensively, and why and how it's so much different?
Yeah, well, I'll start by saying that all of our success really we've had as a team this year comes from the growth of our defense over the course from last year to this year, and that credit rests solely on Phil Snow, our defensive coordinator, and his staff. You know, I GA'd for Phil. He's had a top 20 defense going all the way back to Arizona State when they played for the national championship. He had it at UCLA. He's been an innovator everywhere he's been. And, you know, we played this 3-down package when I was with Coach at Temple, probably 30 to 40% of the games. We would play it the last 2 years. And we got to the end of this past season. We lost some D linemen in the NFL, and we said, who are our best players? What's our best package? We went back and looked, and we were in the 3-down. We were just way more successful. And I want to make sure I give a lot of credit to Iowa State, who's kind of been really started this in the Big 12. And if you watch most teams in the Big 12 now, they've all sort of copied it. And so we took what we already did from 3-down, and we studied Iowa State, and we've kind of built on it. And it fits our players really well. You know, Chris Miller is our middle safety, and you know, he's missed some games because he's a big hitter, and he's had some illegal hits. But he gives him a chance to kind of run the middle, and he can be in the front, he can be in the middle of the field. So it's unique. Now you have to see if you can man up against the size and the strength of Georgia and the downhill running game. So I think it'll be a really cool game from a football perspective, seeing how they attack this defense that maybe they don't see a ton of. But, you know, if you watch them against LSU, they basically played against LSU what we play. So they played a 3-1 with the linebacker behind it. So they certainly have experience, seeing it because they did it.
Let's move over to the right side in the center.
Coach Ed Daniels, WGNO in New Orleans. I was at the Peach Bowl. Coach, were you shocked that what LSU was able to do to Oklahoma? And when you look at Joe Burrow, if you've studied him at all, or seen enough of him, can you kind of comment on what kind of season do you think he's having?
Yeah, I mean, I think Joe Burrow's obviously the Heisman Trophy winner, landslide for a reason. I think he's tremendously accurate. I think the wideouts probably don't even, they get a lot of credit, probably don't give enough credit for the amount of, I mean, they were covered quite a bit in that game the other night. And their ability to go up and get the football and their competitive nature is really, really impressive. Just as a guy, because I've watched them on the coaches tape a little bit, because we played Texas and they had played Texas. I think that they're what they're doing is really historic so far. And I think one of the things I like about Joe is he puts people in a real conflict with his ability to run and keep his eyes down the field. And you saw that in that game the other day. Like, if he starts to run and people come up, then he finds a way to throw it over top of their heads. And if they stay back, he looks. And he's got a lot of Aaron Rodgers qualities in that regard. So what they've done this year is impressive. And I probably should have started by saying this, but what a profile and courage, and as a coach, to see what Coach Ensminger did, going out there and coaching in that game, that was really, really special and at the same time heartbreaking. But I think Oklahoma's a great team. I think Oklahoma just kind of, sometimes you have one of those games, man, where it just hits you before you know it hits you, and you're trying to regroup and get back in it. But LSU looks like a team that's on a mission, and obviously Clemson's been there before. So as a fan, I can't wait to just sit back and watch it on TV.
I think the microphone's on the left towards the back.
Yeah, Matt, how good has this 3-week break been for Charlie Brewer, and what are you seeing from him in practice?
Well, I mean, he's practiced really well. I think, obviously having some time to kind of regroup, and I think just besides being, hit and having the concussion, I think, he was kind of beat up at the end of the year just from general contact, right? I mean, we ran him a lot against Oklahoma, then Texas. So I think, his ankle, his shoulder, his hip, they all feel better. And I think this is a great game for him to develop as a quarterback, because you're not going to run around back there and reverse field and all that stuff against these guys. And I've tried to, it's one thing to talk about timing and push your quarterbacks to go 1, 2, 3, hitch, throw, check it down. It's another thing when all of a sudden you have these guys rushing you. And so my hope is that Charlie will take a step as a quarterback, get the ball out of his hand, because that's what you have to do against these guys.
We have time for one more question right on the right side.
Coach, obviously you talked about wanting to showcase the team when y'all played Oklahoma earlier this year on national TV. You have another opportunity to do that in this game. How much did your team maybe learn from that, and how much do y'all relish these opportunities on this national primetime stage to showcase the program?
Yeah, I mean, I think, gracious. I think, you go back and look at both Oklahoma games, we're one play away from winning those games, but we didn't make that play. So I don't say that as a loser. I say that I think it's always really important to look at, hey, you had to make one more play, but we didn't make it. I didn't make it as a coach. I didn't call one better call. So part of it being the first time is that, you're learning as you go. And really when after the game, you look back and say, you know what, we didn't get it done, but here's where we can improve. And so, I don't think you heard me say, well, I didn't feel sorry for us that we played our third string quarterback, to get we played our third string quarterback, and he's going to go out there and play well. And so I think for me, those games were great steps for our program. Now, as I told them, the last game we played the top number 5 team in the country and we just lost, right? Well, here we have a chance to go play the number 5 team in the country again. And if we're competitors, if we're tough, if we're the team we want to be, then we have to go out there and fight them and understand that this will probably come down to one play, and we've got to make one more play yet again. And so I think our guys have practiced that way. Our guys have trained that way. I want to make sure I say this. I've tried to sound very grateful, because I am very grateful to be here. And it kind of, I read one of the things kind of comes across like I'm saying, hey, we're just happy to be here. We're not happy to be here. We're happy to have a chance to go compete in this game. This is the Sugar Bowl. This is an opportunity to go out and play a great team in Georgia. This is a great, great football team, and so that's been here before. So for us, Let's go out there. I expect our guys to go out there and fight, scratch, and claw. And it's no longer about being here. You know, now it's about, hey, let's go win one of these. Let's go find a way to make the plays it takes to do it. You know, and so that's where we are as a team. We have to make that next step. Like we can't we get in the Big 12 championship game. We give up a missed tackle to CeeDee Lamb for a 80-yard play, and then we kind of play great defense after that. There's no time for that versus these guys. So my hope is that our program takes a step in this game, and we fight, scratch, and claw, get the game down to the end, make one more play than they make, and we find a way to win the game.
Coach, thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.